What's up, guys? Josh Mosiman here. Welcome to This Week in MXA, episode number 58, presented by O'Neill Racing. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we're going to talk about news and what's going on in the industry, and we're going to talk about what the Motocross Action Wrecking Crew is up to. And one thing that I've been up to lately is asking lots of questions to lots of people at the races. So Anaheim 2 Supercross was a lot of fun running around with my camera and microphone, and I got to ask Eli Tomac, Hunter Lawrence, Dylan Ferrandis, and Shane McElrath about electric bikes and what their thoughts were on them. And one interesting thing to note, in the February issue of Motocross Action magazine, this one right here, the one that you can find at the newsstands right now, I got a really cool interview with Feld Entertainment's Dave Prater. He's the one in charge for Supercross for Feld Entertainment, and he says electric bikes are coming and they're going to be challenged with the fact that they're going to have to make racing exciting without any noise going on from the bikes. So crazy stuff that Dave would even mention that. To read more about that article, check out the February issue. In this video, we're going to talk about KTM factory editions that we just got. We're going to talk about Anaheim 2 Supercross, the point standings. We're going to share some funny videos as well as about with what MXA is up to. So let's dive into it.
I asked this is kind of a random question. Electric bikes, people are talking about them more and more each year. What are your thoughts on them? Have you ever ridden one before?
I think it's the future. I don't know if it's the future for racing, but for everyone public riding, I think it's the future and probably what we do need.
Okay, so we were talking about electric bikes, and then you gave me a pretty wild answer I didn't expect from you. So what is your thought on them? Like, have you ever ridden one before? And like, what do you think, it's good or bad?
No, so I haven't ridden them yet, but I think it's like anything else. It's just coming no matter what. And I think our biggest problem with the sport is just noise pollution, if you want to call it that, and public riding for that matter, is the noise. Mm-hmm. So I think if we want to keep public tracks around closer to big city centers, you got to have quieter motorcycles, and that'll probably be electric one day. So
crazy.
That's my take on it. I think for racing, it's like our current racing is badass.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you have that sound and that feel of the start gate.
Yeah.
And I hope that stays around.
Yeah.
But for general public to get on a bike, yeah, I think it'll come.
You think it'll be a benefit for average guys, for anybody who wants to go ride anywhere in the hills, especially here in Southern California. Yeah. We got lots of mountain bike trails.
Yeah.
Like for that kind of purposes, but maybe not taking over Supercross.
I hope that doesn't take over Supercross in the near future, but for public riding, I think it's the future.
Crazy. All right, cool.
So in Florida, I have an electric mini bike.
Really?
And I really like it because we can cruise around the house in the neighborhood, and you don't bother anybody. You don't bother the nature. You can see some wild animal and without doing any noise. So I like that. And so for sure the new bike, I think it's good, especially for me back home in France. All the tracks are closing because of the sound of the bike are too loud. And from when I remember like 10 years ago, I was able to ride on so many tracks around my house, and today they're all closed. So I think if we had this electric bike with no noise, they could reopen. So
really?
I think it's something good, something we need to think about it, because today the problem is the noise. The noise is a problem. Even here in California, I'm sure some tracks struggling with the neighborhood and the noise. So I think it's not a bad idea. For sure for the sports, it's different. For the sports, I'm not sure. Like if we can race with electric bike, but I mean for the normal rider, the people that want to cruise and just have fun on dirt bike, I think that can be a good solution.
What kind of mini bike do you have at home?
So it's a French friend. He owns this brand. His name YCF.
Yep.
And so he gave me 2 electric bikes for my wife and myself, and
cool.
we cruise. It's just
super fun.
It's funny.
Yeah, I know Yannick. He's a really nice guy. Yeah, that's awesome. What are your thoughts on them? Has anybody have you ever ridden an electric bike, or do you have any opinions on them?
Yeah, I rode one at the farm actually. Just like I didn't even know what it was called, like what the thing was, but what CC or any of that equates to. But I mean, it's obviously something that's coming, whether it's being forced upon us, whether it's just how it's going. I don't know. I personally don't hope that we end up racing electric bikes, because it's just, I don't know. I don't find it as cool as, the work that goes into making an engine, the sound an engine makes, the adrenaline the engine gives you. Like, I'm a motorhead, so the same thing with cars as well. Like, it's just, I'll always be in love with engines, and the craftsmanship goes into that.
Totally.
And dude, I don't know. I mean, I hope I can finish my career on a normal bike, because it's nothing beats the sound. You know, can you imagine A1 when it's, you know, start of the season, and like everything's going on right before the gate drops, but you can't hear, and it's just like, like, I don't know, it just doesn't, I don't think it'd be the same. I don't think it'd be the same.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, it's going that way, but I mean, I think they're good for, like, if you live in a suburbia area and there's a trail or whatever, you know, where like mountain bikers are on, or it's national park, like that's nearby housing, and obviously, you know, maybe dirt bikes are frowned upon because of the noise or whatever it may be. You know, I think an e-bike's great for that, just because it's, you could be out riding, having fun, and no one would know, because it's literally, it's like an e-bike, you know, like an e-mountain bike. So
Totally. Have you like ever seen one, or has anybody ever talked to you about like, hey, this could be coming in a couple of years, or is all focus on today?
Yeah, there's no one that's saying like, hey, like, get ready for e-bikes or anything in our corner yet, at least. So I mean, for myself, touch wood, it's not coming anytime soon. I love motors, love motorbikes, the sound. It's, I don't know, I mean, obviously there's so much stuff that goes into an electric bike to make it, but dude, like, it's just, if you understand engines, like our engines alone, the fact that they're a single piston, you know, little engine to rev to 14,000 and beyond RPMs is incredible, you know, as straight up, it's gnarly. So I hope we don't lose it anytime soon.
People have seen them on YouTube a lot lately. They're going to be starting selling more of them, and more people are talking about them. Even Dave Prater of Feld was talking about electric bikes and Supercross in the future. So what are your thoughts on it? Like, have you ever heard a rumor that it might be coming eventually, or have you ever ridden one before?
Never ridden one. I've heard a lot of speculation about them. I think they're cool. I don't think that I don't think there ever will be a replacement for like one of our bikes. Just the not what we have now, but just from the 2 strokes to the 4 strokes. I mean, engines and gas and like adrenaline, it all kind of goes hand in hand. And the electric bikes are cool. Yeah, I just other than zero emissions, that I think it's I think it's a third, 4th tier thing. It's not not anything that's really the next big thing. It's, I mean, the design, the development. I know the latest one is supposed to be leaps and bounds, like the best one, but yeah, there's just no replacement really.
Totally. All right, well, cool. Thanks for your time.
No problem.
Next topic I want to touch on is a video that we just released this past week. MXA's Travis Fant, our videographer, got a really cool video of Eli Tomac's Star Racing Yamaha YZ450, the same bike that he just won the Anaheim 2 Supercross on, the same bike that is leading the 450 championship point standings. His mechanic, Josh Ellingson, gave Travis lots of details about this bike. Pretty cool notes. He runs KYB hybrid spring and air forks. That's pretty cool. He's got custom foot pegs that are a little bit further back to adjust the rider triangle, and a lot more cool details about his bike there. So you have to check it out on our YouTube and on our website to get more details on that video. And next up, while we're talking about Travis Fant and that video he just filmed on Eli Tomac's bike, I do have some sad news to report. At the Anaheim 2 Supercross during the night show, somebody walked into the photo den at Supercross and stole Travis Fant's backpack with hard drives and lots of expensive stuff in there, and also stole Rich Shepard's camera and lens, totaling thousands and thousands of dollars stolen out of the photo den at Supercross. My good friend Mike Emery of Align Media, he came up with kind of a sale, a print sale, that you can buy a print photo that Rich Shepard took from the San Diego Supercross. It's an awesome shot as we show here, and you could do that to support Rich Shepard and help him to buy a new camera and lens to replace what was stolen. Travis Fant is a good guy, and he sounds like he's getting back on his feet. MXA is supporting him, and yeah, bummer to see stuff get stolen, but definitely got to keep an eye on our stuff a little bit closer now at Supercross. Next up, I have a cool interview from this past week at Anaheim 2 while I was walking around the pits, and really, I got a lot of different interviews at Anaheim on Friday, but this one was extra cool. I saw 2 guys walking around the pits wearing all black clothing with Triumph logos on their shirts. I said, These guys obviously work for Triumph. I tried to squeeze as much information as I could out of them. Didn't get a whole lot, but it was still cool to talk to them and see that they're here in the US. They're meeting with Feld, they're meeting with AMA, and they're trying to make a presence at Supercross. So that was cool. Also got to talk to Ricky Carmichael about kind of his decision. He had a connection from a past coworker that used to work at Suzuki, now works at Triumph. Ricky also explained how he likes the Triumph sport bikes and street bikes. So that kind of made the connection work well. So it was cool to catch up with Ricky. He was really nice in the interview. Check it out on our website and YouTube channel. Next up, I want to give you guys a heads up that we have the factory edition KTM 250 and 450 in our possession today. We're at the studio taking photos of these bikes, checking out all the little details on them. We got our graphics and our logos on them now, and we're excited to finally ride them. By the time this video comes out, we will be on the track at Paula riding these bikes and testing them, comparing them to last year's bikes. Be on the lookout for our new tested videos on these bikes. The 250 and 450 videos will come out Wednesday night or Thursday, really soon after riding them. We're going to give you our first impressions on these motorcycles, and we know a lot about what they look like. We know a lot about what they were designed to do, but we don't know how they feel on the track yet. So keep an eye out for those videos. It's going to be a lot of fun breaking apart those new bikes and seeing how they run on the track. All right, guys, now talking about the 450 Supercross main event from Anaheim 2. It was a really fun race to watch. The whole weekend was cool. Anaheim 2 was a lot different than Anaheim 1. If you watched our video on Friday from the Anaheim 2 where I interviewed lots of riders, you would have seen that I also talked to Randy from Dirtworks. He talked about the difference between the dirt at A1 and A2. Long story short, a lot more hard pack at A2, made for a unique track. Whoops were gnarly, had a little drop off coming into them, but lots of crazy racing. Eli Tomac took the win. Jason Anderson took out Ken Roxon, and Jason Anderson made a mistake, but it was cool to see. We had all guys on the podium who've been on the podium before, so kind of the first real non-brand new podium that we had this season. Eli Tomac, backed up his second at San Diego to take the win. His first win with Yamaha, that was cool. It was fun to just see the excitement in his eyes in the press conference as he crossed the finish line on the podium. Eli Tomac was a happy camper. Jason Anderson rode well, got second, had that crazy pass with Ken Roxon like mentioned, and Chase Sexton. This guy was quick. He didn't sound very confident and didn't sound like he was loving how he was feeling on the bike, but for him to get third and not be loving it, that's a dangerous thing. He's very quick, so fun to watch those guys. 450 main event was a very exciting one. Now, when you take a look at the point standings, Eli Tomac is the first 450 rider to have the red plate for 2 rounds in a row this season, so we've had a new guy with red plate each round. Eli Tomac is going to carry it for the second time to Glendale. He has a 6-point lead on Chase Sexton, an 8-point lead on Jason Anderson, and a 12-point lead on Cooper Webb in the championship. So Eli Tomac is starting to get a little bit comfortable at the front. It's going to be interesting to see what all goes down at Glendale. Next up, talking about the 250 class, it was a very exciting race. My brother got out front early after passing Vince Freeze. Vince Freeze is just amazing at starts, and Michael had to battle with Vince in the heat race. They got pretty close, had some definitely close calls mid-air in the heat race, but he got around Vince after Vince actually crashed in the heat race. So it was almost a good practice for Michael to race with him in the heat race, because when the main event came, he made a good pass, made it stick, and got out front. I was really proud of him. Rode really well, held off Christian Craig for a long time. Then when Christian got by him, he picked it up in the whoops, and it was really cool to see him kind of getting close to matching Christian Craig in the whoops, because that guy is just impeccable in the whoop sections. And at the end, last couple laps, Craig got away from him, but really cool. Showed a lot of respect, both guys, after the finish line. Now Christian Craig has an 11-point lead over Hunter Lawrence and a 14-point lead over my brother going into Glendale. So they're 4 rounds into their 10-round season, and out of the 10 rounds, they're going to have 2 East-West showdowns. So one on the East Coast and then one at the season finale. So the East-West showdown, that could be where you could see bigger point swings, positive or negative for either rider. But with only 10 rounds of racing, an 11-point lead is pretty good for Christian Craig after just 4 races. And finally, we also have a funny segment where I ride a KX 112 Super Mini. This was a blast. I'm 175, 6 foot, and way too big for a Super Mini, but stock suspension with a Pro Circuit pipe on it. Had a lot of fun riding it, and really just laughing at myself when I look at pictures of videos of me hopping on this bike. So it was a fun time testing it. We'll have a video about that bike and a magazine article about the new Kawasaki 112 Super Mini coming soon. All right, guys. So that's it for this week in MXA, episode number 58. Thank you guys for tuning in. As I mentioned, we have factory edition bike test videos on our website and lots more coverage from the Glendale Supercross round 5 of the 2022 season this weekend. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.